defeating the Republican Sheffield Nelson. Bill?
Governor Tucker has ethics problems because of his ties to Whitewater and some Small Business Administration loans. Nelson, his opponent, is a die-hard Clinton enemy. He ran against Governor Clinton in 1990. Tucker has pulled it out.
Welcome to our coverage. I'm Bernard Shaw, along with Judy Woodruff and Bill Schneider. Let's go to Bruce Morton to find out what it looks like in terms of the Democrats in the Senate and who is going to or who will control the United States Senate. Bruce?
Bernie, we might begin by taking a look at where we started. There are 100 senators, of course, and when this day dawned, 56 of them were Democrats, 44 of them were Republicans. Now, we have some races decided, some still in play, but here's where we are at the moment. The Republicans have gained 5 seats. There are 20 still undecided. If they gain 2 more, if they get up to 7, then they'll control the Senate. Now back to the National Desk.
Bill Schneider, those numbers are very encouraging for the Republicans.
They certainly are, and the Democrats have not managed to capture a single seat formerly held by the Republicans. So that is the full change has been 5 seats shifting from Democratic to Republican.
And I could just hear the wheels going around in the heads of the present chairman of the important committees in the Senate. Imagine Robert Byrd of West Virginia. He would be out as chairman of the Appropriations Committee. Joseph Biden would leave. Orrin Hatch, the Republican, would take over as Senate Judiciary Committee chairman. Edward Kennedy, whom we just reported won in Massachusetts, he would lose his job as chairman of Labor and Human Resources. Look at Pat Moynihan, Finance. Bob Packwood would take over there. Jesse Helms could become the next chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Alphonse D'Amato,
that's
banking, and Sam Nunn would be gone. And guess who would be in if the Republicans get 2 more seats? Strom Thurmond, South Carolina.
At Armed Services
That's
Committee.
right. The Democrats made up a poster of Al D'Amato, Jesse Helms, Bob Dole, and said, this is what will happen if the Republicans take over the Senate. It could happen.
Another set of races that both sides are keeping a very close eye on tonight are those governors' races. Going into tonight, 36 governors were up. 21 of them were Democrats, 14 were Republicans, 1 was an independent. We're going to go now to our governor's desk and to CNN's Gene Meserve, who's been keeping an eye on how that stacks up. Gene.
Well, it's looking good for the Republicans right now. If we look at those balance of power numbers, we had 29 Democrats and 20 Republicans in office when this day began, and we have some races already called right now, including those holdovers. We have 12 Republicans and 10 Democrats. That's a net increase of 2 for the Republicans. 28 races are still undecided. 15 races were rated a toss-up when this day began. Back to the National Desk.
Okay, thanks very much, Gene Meserve.
All right, and now to the Cuomo headquarters. CNN's Jeannie Most is there, and I think she's going to speak to Matilda Cuomo. Is that right?
That's right. The governor himself is upstairs here at the hotel. He'll be watching the returns on television, but we're here with Matilda Cuomo, the wife of the governor for how many years?
Well, 40 years, going on 41 now, actually.
So what's it feel like? I mean...
And you notice that I haven't changed him, even though he says, 12 years, don't worry about it. Look at Matilda. She's with me 40 years.
It's a tight race. I mean, this is supposed to be a real squeaker. How are you feeling about this now? I mean,
I think there were a lot of things to
We're going to interrupt this interview and come back to Mrs. Cuomo to say we are ready to declare a winner in the Virginia Senate race. He is the incumbent Chuck Robb, a big victory for the Democrats over the Republican Oliver North. Bill
and
Schneider.
A sweet victory for the Democrats because Oliver North was the most controversial candidate. This was the hottest race in the country. Would Virginia voters send Oliver North to the United States Senate? He had a lot of support from conservative activists, Christian conservatives, but it looked like he had just as many enemies. Robb has made it.
We should be careful of the words we utter. This morning, as he came out of the polling booth, Oliver North said that President Clinton would have
Excedrin headache.
Number 10. And on Inside Politics, when we talked to George Stephanopoulos, I said, what do you think about North's comment? Stephanopoulos said, Oliver North will have Excedrin headache number 12.
So now we know who's going to have the headache.
Yeah. This is a very good night for Republicans generally, but this is a very bitter pill for them to swallow, the loss of Virginia.
Speaking of pills, now we want to go back to Jeannie Most and her interview with the First Lady of the state of New York, Matilda Cuomo. Back to you, Jeannie.
Okay, and you heard that news. Oliver North was defeated, so...
Very exciting, and I'm so happy. That's a good omen. That's good.
So in your race, it's a squeaker. Are you folks nervous or what? How's the governor feeling?
No, we're optimistic because I think it boils down to what's best for me, my family, the children of the future. And this is a governor who has great leadership, I tell you. I mean, he has, when we talk about integrity, we use these words. I mean, he really has integrity. And he doesn't say things simplistically or to make them sound good because you want to hear it that way, but it's misleading. It's deceptive. He wouldn't do that. And I think, you know, he also has led this state that is a national, he's made a national impact on the whole country because most of our state programs and services under the Decade of the Child, which also, as a governor, I'm so proud of him. No other governor has started anything like this.
You sort of made some news yourself during this campaign. I mean, you called Mr. Pataki, the main opponent of the governor, you called him a lightweight. You said he was tin compared to your husband's gold. I mean, did you really say those things?
In fact, you know, knowledge is power, and if people were to really consider the facts, they would realize that there is no comparison. This governor has a really solid record and a sense of accomplishments that he has that you can't take away from the governor. And we're going to build on those accomplishments and the continuity that we will have to do more and better things for our families and children. Because you can't compare this state with Utah or Nebraska or Connecticut. We have a lot of complex problems here. We have people who speak 178 languages, you know, and so we're larger than countries.
Can I ask, are you sorry, and is he sorry he didn't run for president?
Well, that's behind us. I'm telling you, we're looking ahead. But the fact is he opted to stay here for another 4 years and build on his accomplishments and really lead us into some real good quality of life. You know, actually, you look at his record, you look at the other fellows' records, now that you mentioned what I said, it's for good reason, because I'm telling the people who haven't voted yet, they have a little more time to vote. Please vote.
Thank you very much, and we should say the polls in New York are still open another 20 minutes.
That's right.
That's it from here, back to the national desk.
And until they close, we can't talk about exit polls from New York. But you have an observation about these Senate races.
Well, there have been 5 Senate seats that have changed hands, all from Democratic to Republican, but 4 of those seats were open races in which no incumbent was running. Only one incumbent was defeated for the United States Senate. That was Democrat Jim Sasser. He was from Tennessee, where there was also an open race on the ballot at the same time. In the 2 races that have changed hands for governors, where seats have gone from Democratic to Republican, they were both open seats. So it looks like the Republicans are making gains, but so far almost all of their gains, except for Sasser, have been in open races where no incumbent was running.
All right. Oh.
I would just quickly add, you can imagine Vice President Al Gore very depressed to see his old seat go over to the Republican side.
Absolutely.
2 Republicans in Tennessee now.
That's right, a shutout for the Democrats. A lot of polls have closed. In more than half the states, the polls have closed. We've got a lot of votes to count, a lot of exit polls to examine. We're going to continue to do that when we come right back.
Chrysler Cirrus has an advanced 24-valve V6. Its cab-forward design conveniently provides room for 5 and a vast array of new technology. It has dual airbags and advanced rail-through construction for superior handling and quietness. Chrysler Cirrus. While its name is derived from the heavens, one of the best reasons to own one is very down to earth. Chrysler Cirrus. It's not just a step above, it's the new plateau.
I've identified the compound.
That's great news.
Take a look at the data.
What's this?
Oldie stock research reports. I get them every month. They help me select stocks.
I didn't know discounters offered research recommendations.
Oldie does. And when I buy 1,000 shares or more of a stock Oldie recommends, the trade's commission free.
Great discovery.
They call it smart trading.
For commission-free trading, call 1-800-USA-OLDIE.
Home for the holidays in your hometown. For nearly 70 years, IGA supermarkets have been a part of hometown holidays, while the buying power of 4,000 IGA stores means hometown savings, like the great taste of wheat, rice, and corn check cereals, and Pillsbury's pie crusts and Crescent dinner rolls. Hometown holidays. At IGA, it's one more reason we're hometown proud.
IGA. Museum Moderne Kunst, Vienna.
The legendary watch dial.
Museo de Arte Contemporáneo, Caracas.
Exhibited in distinguished museums around the world.
Staatliche Museum für Angewandte Kunst, Munich.
Is the design inspiration for the Movado Museum collection of watches.
Victoria and Albert Museum, London.
Movado, the museum watch.